Hey, hang around after this stream. We're going to have a panel. We're going to discuss everything. I'll invite you on.
They broke the chains, but I walked out free. Every scar they carved just empowered me. 2017 Lafayette's chokehold grip. Sheriff's badge turned to a power trip. Mississippi flag in my righteous hand. Public sidewalk where free citizens stand. Timmy Pruitt rolled up with manufactured rage. No permit, lies wrapped me in the cage. Asked for his badge number. Exercise my right. They cuffed me up in broad Mississippi daylight. Video went viral, whole county shook. They fired back with a felony book. False stalking charge, legal masquerade. All to indemnify the mess they made. 2018, November's bitter frost. Lizzie Crowder weaponized what mattered most. Filed false rape, turned love to a courtroom game. 2 years grinding through manufactured shame. 2020 she pled out, escaped the cell. Paid her fine while my world went to hell. Support for Lydia suddenly flipped and betrayed. 4 years lost, no father-daughter serenade. No bedtime stories, no calls relayed. Just silence where our laughter used to cascade. December 2021, the storm returned. Alcorns writ while Lafayette bridges burned. Joey East crew snatched me ice cold. No evaluation, no facts, no lawful hold. Tupelo's walls, padded bed confinement. North Miss meds clouding my mental alignment. February 22, they came once more. Alcorns fabrications walked through the door. Newborn son in the ER sacred light. They cuffed me up, stole that holy night. 7 days in solitary's concrete cave. Then East Miss pharmaceuticals to enslave. June 2022, walked through the hall. Oxford City standing dignified and tall. Camera rolling, made a clerk request. Public records, constitutional quest. But they twisted it, spun their narrative line. Mayor claimed fear to blur the constitutional line. Dusted off that restraining order from 17. Weaponized fresh for a felony scene. Charged with stalking for walking through city.
Hey, what's up, Claudette? What's up, Steve? Hey, pass the word around. Stay around after this. We're going to review it. All right, I'm opening the panel up. I can have some guests on. I've got the link pinned right here. So be sure to put it in the chat. Have people hang around. We're going to have a discussion about this crazy shit at the end. Journalist on assignment, working the street. Allstein's traffic stop, perfectly staged night. False default, we at charge, no sobriety test in sight. Hey, share it out. Double click that screen. A little bit of a delay, it's throwing me off. With zero proof to show, but January 25 post-conviction win. January 22nd, I walk free again. February 1st, Utah's deceptive call. Layton ground, but predatory eyes on all. Sesames reached across state lines, spinning webs with defamatory signs. Rich and spread poison wide. Wearing 39 names caught in their slanderous tide. Share this out, folks. GRAMA's light, Layton City help me get the stream up. March 28th, I dialed that phone. City Hall reception, cold as stone. March 31st, face federal walls. Salt Lake City, where justice calls. They demanded ID, background inspection. I said no. Constitutional protection took my plates. Circle my car, still went live, raised awareness far, but the cruelest wound that still remains. Crowder's war, these invisible chains. Lydia's voice, 4 years stolen away. No good night hugs, no Father's Day. Mother and daughter separated by lies. I'm doing a lot of traveling myself right now. Align the names, Sesames, McCutcheon, their corruption games. Arrington Shield, Layton's wall, all right. Oxford's influence, spanning it all. So stick around at the end. I need some people to discuss what just happened. I want your feedback. I want to talk about it. Let's have a discussion. Hey, make sure you go to www.wtpnews.org. There's a brand new platform on there that can help everybody. You can also easily get to that platform by going to research.wtpnews.org. Take you straight there. All right, let's get this show going. I'm not live vertical, so it's not throwing it out into the big, ocean of people. So, and it is late too. Alright. Just wanted to see what would happen and see if we could have a discussion on it. Here's what happened today. I went by the Mississippi Highway Patrol office. I had to get some things off of my chest. I had to ask some questions. I had to find out the answers that I already knew. Here is what happened.
Hello?
Hello, is this Matthew?
Who's calling?
Oh,
It's Lieutenant Rich of Layton Police Department. Returning a phone call from Matthew here.
hold on a second.
Well, you called me a little late.
Hold on a second. My bad. I was uploading two things at once, okay? This is actually the call with Layton Lieutenant Riley Richens, okay? I'm also uploading the one about what happened today at the Highway Patrol office. But right here, this is about where everything really folded for both Layton and Oxford. This is where the lawsuit got filed. Coincidentally, 4 hours, not even 4 hours after I filed it, I got a call from Lieutenant Riley Richens. He is the one that sent my personal address and false information out to 139 law enforcement officers. Here it is. Hold on a second. Let me edit. Let's go back to the beginning. Boom, boom, and boom.
Hello?
Hello, is this Matthew?
Who's calling?
It's Lieutenant Rich of Layton Police Department. Returning a phone call from Matthew here.
Well, you called me a little late. I was hoping to hear from you on Friday, Lieutenant. I really was.
I'm off on Friday.
Are you? Alright. Well, so, yeah, I wanted to have a talk with you because I feel like it was, what Sessoms did was completely outrageous and completely unfair, and I wanted you to have both sides, or I wanted you to have, the truth in what all was going on instead of just what they're feeding you. I don't know what all you've looked into. I'm not trying to. My goal was not to try to cause any issues with your department whatsoever. I am a journalist. I am an author. I'm working on publishing my first book here in a couple of weeks. And I got to tell you, so I was back. It all starts back at 2017. I was literally framed for a crime that I did not commit. I want to point out also on your email that you had sent out, I was never arrested or charged with stalking the mayor in 2017. That was not the case. So this thing has been completely political since day one. They've been trying to, a persistent issue in their eyes is a guy that's fighting to vindicate himself. A guy that's trying to get public records that are held on to. And honestly, I don't even know where that came from with the Oxford Police Department, because I haven't had any issues with the Oxford Police Department except for June 20th, 2022. That is literally the only time I had any issue with them, and didn't even really have a big issue. My issue has been with the Sheriff's Department over in Lafayette County. Where this all came from just goes completely over my head. But I wanted to talk to you about that because, I got out of prison January 22nd of this year because it was an illegal sentence that got vacated. It was all part of It was part of a conspiracy, a multi-state conspiracy, just like what they're doing with y'all. They did the same thing with Galveston, and Galveston is now wrapped up in litigation. Okay, this it was a deputy that because I exposed her lying on stand, intentionally lying on stand to send me to prison for a year. I did what any person would do. I mean, if you went to prison for a year and knew that you spent that time, you were taken away from your kids, and you were innocent the whole time and went there solely because of lies, I'm pretty sure that you would want to write what happened and, point out, hey, here's where she lied. Here's where, it was a phone call that I was going to the FBI office in Oxford to go and report crimes. I was banished from Oxford and Lafayette County as part of this witch hunt. And for official purposes, I could go back into the county. And I called the FBI office to let them know that I had something that I needed to report, and set up a time with the FBI agent to come in there and actually speak with them. I called the sheriff's department, conveyed everything perfectly, and this Deputy Candace Beavers intentionally lied on stand and said I didn't have a lawful purpose to go to the FBI office and that I didn't have an appointment. But that's completely untrue. Like the calls, I conveyed everything perfectly. I went to prison because of her lies. And so when I exposed it, she got mad because I exposed it, and her and this other deputy that are featured in the video that I put out, the deputy that actually pulled me over that night where they took me into custody and revoked my probation for that, him and her both are on call recordings calling this officer in Galveston, Texas, to have this false DWI staged so that they could come in and ultimately silence me by re-revoking my probation again, which is what they did. I haven't drank any alcohol since the end of 2018, and the first question the officer asked when he walked up to my window was, "Are you an auditor?" And then proceeds on to asking me if I had been drinking. These are. I wanted to preface all that. I know there's so much stuff that happened, Lieutenant. It's so hard for me to wrap my head around. But I wanted to. I really hate that Lafayette County, that Oxford did this once again. This time it was Oxford Police Department, not Lafayette County Sheriff's Department. And I believe that it was Oxford Police Department because they didn't want the heat to come back on the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department a second time. But they just walked y'all into fire, Lieutenant. I wasn't trying to cause no issues whatsoever. And this captain over in Oxford ran an illegal surveillance campaign on me. A journalist, an author that's about to release an expose about the happenings in North Mississippi that literally was a wrecking ball to my life. And I don't know. I came over here to get away from them. All right, I came over here. I wasn't trying to cause any type of issues. I'm just simply a journalist. I don't even call myself a auditor, man. Like, honestly, that was just I guess you could say I got a bit of a wild hair up my ass and just wanted to do a silent audit because I'd never done one. But I was very respectful, and I congratulated you guys on doing a good job. And then turn around and I get doxxed out to 139 people. My address gets sent out to 139 people. False information. saying that I was arrested and charged in 2017 for stalking the mayor. Got sent out to 139 people. I don't deserve that. You know, if the shoe was on the other foot and I called and I just reported somebody, you know, it's just not fair to, and that's what they've gotten away with for 8 years, is them being taken at their word on everything. And it's, I don't know.
Well, Matthew, here at Layton PD, we've got no issue with you. So I appreciate you telling me your side of the story. I get there's always two sides of the story. We got the information, we push it out. We want to make sure we treat everybody, the citizens, with the respect and uphold the law, right? So that's why information was pushed out. It was nothing in disrespect to you, and we've got no issue with you. And so,
I'm gonna tell you what here's the most damn, unfortunate situation that's going on now is, here, the city of Layton is they've got a recorded call from with Mark Arrington that they've already, told me about, and then they hadn't turned that over. Like, I got those emails because I just had a hunch that Oxford, Lafayette County was up to the same things again. That's why I requested those public records. That's why I wanted to get any emails, that had to do with my name from February 3rd. Call it I don't know. It's a intuition like none other. I mean, it's always been spot on for me. And they fought me tooth and nail on everything with the city. Didn't have to be that difficult. And then now they, are refusing to turn over the call log, and they sent me the call log for my phone numbers, or for my phone number into the city. And then they sent me, they did not send me the phone call that the records clerk, I think her name starts with an A, Shank or something like that. So that basically, she said that she had it, and then all of a sudden I didn't get sent that information. So I'm trying to, I sent her an email back, didn't get a response. I called the city. So at this point, the city, they're giving me the runaround. I mean, I don't know anything else to do but to put in a notice of intent, and then all of a sudden they, the city wanted to play games on. I already said I don't want to speak to Mark Arrington. Mark Arrington is actually noticed as a party in this notice of intent because of the things that he did. And what do? They forward all calls to the legal department, and the lady picks up and says that I've been instructed that I can't speak to anybody except for Mark Arrington. And I told her, I said, hold up, that's a huge conflict. In fact, that's actually against ethics, because you can't speak to a party that, it's like I shouldn't be speaking to him if he's presumed party. Well, they did it anyways. I ended up having to. I'm just going to be honest with you, Lieutenant, because I mean it's there's no sense in even keeping anything hidden at this point. I felt like my hands were tied in the matter completely. I felt like, because of what they were doing to me with the city, I felt like when I didn't get a call back from you Friday, and then I didn't get a call back today, I figured it was the same thing with you. That it was like y'all were just basically shutting me out, and I mean,
I got your voicemail and I gave you a call. I'm not always in the office, so it's.
I know that, Lieutenant, and you know, I actually legitimately kind of feel a little bad because you did reach out, you did do, you know, and man to man, I appreciate you reaching out and giving me a call. I really do, like I said, you have my word. I am not going to be an issue to your officers at all, but you know, the city basically forced my hand on the matter, and I had to go and file a lawsuit today.
Yeah, I mean, that's your right. You know? So,
well,
as far as the PD, I mean, we can have respect for you. You can have respect for us. As long as we all uphold the law, then I think everything will be just fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't take the position that all cops are bad cops. I really don't. In fact, you know, Salt Lake City, the Highway Patrol, Utah Highway Patrol or Utah State Troopers, whatever. Several supervisors actually, you know, I'm very cool with, and they've actually told their officers, you know, that I'm not there to harass or do anything nefarious or anything like that. There's a mutual respect right there, and I just don't want Lafayette County to, you know, it's like they're never going to stop. Oxford's never going to stop. And that's why I reached out to you Friday, because I honestly, and I wish I would have known about all this sooner so I could have reached out to you sooner. Because that's the thing, man. I legitimately, they need to be stopped. They don't need to drag, you know, other people into their mess. That's, you know, that's ridiculous. And I hope you share the same, you know, thought on that, because there was no need in them doing that. I wasn't bothering them. You know, it's enough that they banished me from the county on this witch hunt, and it separated me from my wife and kids. And I come out here to basically, you know, start fresh after losing everything because of their mess. And I can't, you know, they're like herpes. They never stop popping up, and I don't even mess with them.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you there, Matthew. Other than, like, for us, like, I mean, we can have that mutual respect like we talked about. So.
Well, I appreciate it, Lieutenant. And like I said, I wish that, you know, you would have called me before I went and, you know, filed this thing. And I wish I would have heard from you. I didn't know that you were off on Fridays, and I just felt, you know, I just kind of felt pinched. I felt backed in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, however you feel and whatever you feel like you got to do, you know, as long as.
I want to find out where Sessoms got my purse. You know, I hadn't put that address on anything. I had just moved in like 3 days prior, just signed a lease, had not even, you know, literally had not, I didn't even know my address because the addresses up here are so weird compared to where I'm from. I had no clue what the address was, so I don't understand how basically, you know, hours after I get here, how they're 20-something hours away, and, you know, they're providing y'all with the address? I mean, does that not strike you a little weird right there?
I'm not sure where they got it.
I mean, y'all don't do stuff like that, do you?
No. I mean, I don't know what the circumstances are, but maybe there's circumstances that it might be legitimate, right?
Well, there's never circumstances unless there's probable cause, and the Fourth Amendment's very, very clear about that. You know, about having there has to be, you know, somebody's, you know, it can't be a deep dive into somebody unless there's actually probable cause for that directly goes against the Fourth Amendment. You know, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm a constitutional rights activist. You know, this is they should have known better on something like that.
Well, I'm not here to argue with you.
Yes, sir.
So,
Well, hey, I appreciate your time. I've got a
Okay, sorry about that. I was having a few problems with the orientation of my phone. So that call I forgot all about that. The call got cut off right there at the end because I only had one recorder at the time. I had my phone that I was on, and then I had my other phone that I used to record. And actually I recorded into what's called auto. It is a transcriber, a note taker, and for whatever reason it ended like right there at the end, and I didn't have anything else that was running to actually record it. So man, there's like nobody in this stream, so I guess I take it that we're not going to probably have a let me look in the guest room and see if there's anybody in there. Not seeing anybody in there. So what happened in all of that was this. That day, whenever I filed that lawsuit, I went and took the sworn declaration to the FBI over in Salt Lake City. They shit hit the fan out there. I was reporting on it, the fact that they wouldn't take my sworn declaration. They wanted to run a full background check, and they sent 2 agents out to threaten me with arrest if I had stayed there reporting on the visitor parking lot. It was completely tyrannical, without a doubt. And I was trying to see if I can get, let's see, video catalog. Cloud assets, I think that's it. Yep. Too big. Alright. So I was going to try to play the clip of what happened to the FBI. Most of y'all have seen it. Based on the way that they've acted this entire time, not just that, but it all leads to believe that that's the source of Hilton Sesam's information. I know it is. I know for a fact it is. Because he bragged that he was a graduate of the FBI National Academy. Let's see. What's up, Lucky Laptop? Claudette. News Now, Preston, Nashville. What's going on, brother? We never did meet up, and I am no longer in Mississippi. I am on my tour, I guess you could call it. Allie Bell. Hey, Allie Bell, I appreciate everything that you were saying last night. I didn't get to actually address you personally on all that, but you did a great job moderating here in the chat, and I really appreciate it. Let me see. I'm not seeing anybody jumping in here. Part of the reason is I'm not going live vertical. It was a horizontal stream, and YouTube pretty much doesn't do anything for horizontal stream anymore. So I've got, let's see, I'm not going to replay the call with the U.S. attorney. It's a little long, and since I don't see anybody in the waiting room, I guess we're not going to really have a discussion on it, which sucks. Anyone heard from Swamp Fox News lately? Honestly, I don't think I've ever listened to this channel. So today, for those on here that don't know, I confronted the Mississippi Highway Patrol. Went in, saw a supervisor, a captain, and basically argued common sense for about 20-something minutes, 30 minutes. It was a good conversation. It got a lot of things out, and it recorded it. It left a record. There's no excuse for nothing being done. Now, I've methodically documented everything. Now, let's see if the state of Mississippi wants to keep it up, or if they want to start doing the right thing. Joko, Kansas City Cop Watch, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, I do have the room open. At the top, there's a link. If you want to jump on and have a discussion, click that link. I'll see you pop up in my room, and it'll bring you on. Let's see. Let me do this. So that let me go ahead and touch on this as well. In no way, shape, or form would I ever really do what I did right here. Okay? This is an ongoing case, or it's supposed to be an ongoing case. I went ahead and I published that because, like I said, everything that I'm doing is becoming public record. But here's the thing. The court, the federal court out in Salt Lake City has failed me miserably. I filed that lawsuit March 31st of this year. It is now July 24th. I've filed multiple motions to lift the stay. The court put it on a stay because I filed a pauper's oath. You know, basically declaring that I'm indigent and cannot afford the fees. I'm going to do that every single time since the state has disenfranchised me the way that they have. Anybody that has anything that they need to file, if your income doesn't meet a certain level, you can do what's called a pauper's oath. Okay, it's like an affidavit of poverty, and it waives the $405 plus gets the U.S. Marshals to serve each of the defendants with a copy of the lawsuit. Saves out all of that. Here's the problem with it, is that like these judges are trying to show right now, they are intentionally taking the case and throwing it on the back burner for months and months and months and months and months. Whereas if you have the $405 to pay, you can go ahead and advance right away. It's kind of a little, honestly, it's discriminatory. 100% discriminatory in nature because of how long they're taking. They're basically trying to force, somebody to come up with that money. They might as well, if they're going to do something like that, just take away the ability to do it. Okay? But that's not the case. They're not doing that. They're just leaving the cases stayed. And so, at this point, had everything have been advancing along, and court dates were scheduled, yada, 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 responses, I would have had no need to put anything out because it was going the way it needed to go. But sometimes you have to jolt the system a little bit. In this case, if that was such a big party foul, putting that recording out there, you're going to have to schedule a court hearing so we can talk about it. And a court hearing is what I've been demanding since the beginning of April. Filed 2 extra declarations that have shown a continuing just injury. I've declared my victim status under the U.S. Department of Justice, can't remember what the exact name of it is, but it's basically invoking the protections of a crime victim, which is what ultimately has happened here with this, conspiracy, jumping over state lines, falsely, rigging charges, all of that. It has made me a crime victim that I want to take advantage of all the protections that I can get to help curb this thing from happening. Let me go back over here and check the room again to see if there's anybody that's in there now. Let's see. Still don't have anybody in there. Hey, those that are on here, please hit that like button. Double tap the screen. Let me, since y'all are on here, if y'all want to see what happened today at Mississippi Highway Patrol, I'm working on mixing out the real clear version. Okay? Don't have that one ready yet. It's taken a long time to render. But this is what happened today over at the Mississippi Highway Patrol office. Let's see, where's that? Oh, right here. And I just jumped it ahead a little bit. Only they can have the weapons. Yeah. Sean Tyndale. Hello.
Can I help you?
Yeah, is there a supervisor I can speak
Yes,
with?
sir. I got Captain.
Hey, Captain. Hey, I was wanting to talk to you about something.
Okay.
Get your opinion or get your feedback on it.
Okay.
So if somebody is, let's say, somebody's peacefully protesting on a public sidewalk, and you know somebody walks up to that person and that I guess doesn't like the fact that they're peacefully protesting and strikes that person, hits them, would y'all make an arrest for that?
If that happened in our presence, I mean, yeah, there's a possibility an arrest could be made.
It's a possibility. What possibility would it not be made?
If it wasn't in our presence.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if it was in your presence. You're just saying if it was in your presence. So,
Sure.
in what situation would that not be an arrest made? Would that
If
that?
it wasn't in our presence is what
But
we're
it-
getting at. So, in other words, if it didn't happen in front of me
Right.
or any other law enforcement officer, then it would be the person that got hit filed their own charges through whatever court had jurisdiction.
Okay.
But yeah, if an assault occurs in the presence or any other violation.
And being a law enforcement officer, it's part of y'all's sworn duty to, if you observe a crime occurring,
Sure.
to
The Constitution, yes, sir.
under the Constitution. Okay. So here's where I'm getting at with this. Are you aware of an incident that occurred on July the 3rd? Not here, but in the state of Mississippi.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, so what happened was I was outside of the governor's mansion on a public sidewalk. I was peacefully exercising my right, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and one of your highway patrolmen, state troopers, that was on the guard shack duty, got extremely triggered and told me that I would have to take my stuff and go across the street. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm on a public sidewalk. And he came out the gate and charged at me and chased me out into the road and told me that he did not give a fuck about the First Amendment. That was his exact words verbatim. Then I asked for a supervisor because I wanted to make a on-site complaint. And a supervisor by the name of White. It's a black gentleman with glasses, probably late 40s.
Okay.
He showed up, and basically it was gaslighting. Like, well, what did you do to cause the trooper to do that? I didn't do anything. Okay. Well, I stood my ground right there and said, look, I'm on the public sidewalk. The trooper that came at me before, he put his hat on and put his gun belt on, came back to the gate, came out the gate, came at me, and I said, "You're going to stay away from me." He charged at me, and he punched me. Right in the presence of his supervisor and 2 other state troopers. They had to pull him off. They said, "De-escalate." I started, I was very emphatic about, I want charges on him now, because that is a loose cannon. That is a dangerous, dangerous individual that, can literally get triggered like that. It's not even like he did that to try to arrest me. It wasn't even, and that's what's so crazy about the situation. It wasn't like he was trying to, make a bad arrest, because that would have been bad in itself. But it was just straight up violence. He punched at me. I should have let him just full on clock me, is what I should have done. But naturally, I put my arm up, I block it right at the last second, and he hit the gimbal that I had, and then knocked the phone out of the gimbal. The gimbal's broken. This phone keeps overheating, and have to turn it off. So that's affected my, that's definitely affected my work right there. But in all of that, when I started demanding that charges be filed, they didn't do it. The trooper charged at me a 3rd time because I was demanding that charges get filed. They hauled him off, refused to give me his name and badge number. Now here I am, the victim of a crime, and it's rules for thee but not for me. And that's why I was saying, this is a dangerous precedent that, if I would have walked up and hit anybody in the presence of them, I would have been arrested. There's not a doubt in my mind. If I would have walked up to him, and if I would have hit him the way he did like me, I would probably either be shot, tased. I would definitely be charged with assault on a law enforcement officer, which would be a felony. Okay, but then when I demand justice because I was assaulted, okay, he gets the free pass, and I don't even get his identification. And the governor has stayed completely silent about this whole ordeal. And I have huge problems with that because the video is going viral. It's going, big channels have picked it up. It's actually going around the world. There are people in other countries that are commenting that are absolutely shocked and sickened by the actions of that state trooper. And there's zero accountability. The governor has a duty to, all these people, not just in the state, but around the country and around the world. Do you know what they think about Mississippi right now? They think that Mississippi uses violence against people that are lawfully exercising their rights. And I need that condemned at the highest levels, because Mississippi's already had a track history of making themselves look bad on a lot of things. And here I can't even get anybody to denounce the actions of that trooper. I want to know the trooper's name, because I have the right as the victim of a crime to make an official complaint, to escalate the matter up where it needs to go, but it's obstruction of justice at this point when I can't get his name.
Has anybody explained to you a QR complaint process?
No.
Okay. This that you've got right here in front of you.
Okay.
That is a QR that will take you to essentially a part of the DPS website page, and allows you to file a complaint on any DPS employee. And whatever information you do have, there's a place for you to put in there what information you do have. once you do that, that sends it directly to our internal affairs. They determine what facts that they can. If it's something that they feel like can be handled by a troop, like a troop commander and his command center.
No, it needs to be handled a lot higher up, and especially at this point. And, you know, like you said at the beginning, it's in the Constitution that if a law enforcement officer witnesses a crime being committed, and that's why I said, is there any situation at all where if somebody strikes another person?
Most often I would say it would come to arrest, but I try to stay away from saying always or never, because it can always be an exception.
So there's even one scenario where somebody can walk up and punch somebody.
I mean, I'm not saying that anything was justified, but it's hard to say that always X, Y, or Z will happen, or never that will happen. Typically, you can talk about probabilities, but most likely.
I mean, can you even think of,
make their own discretion as well.
but can you even think of one hypothetical, if the person's not threatened anything?
I can't off the top of my head, but I don't want to box myself in and say they're not.
But I don't think that there's a right to make an arrest, but there's never a right to go up and to strike somebody, especially being law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, you would, if there was, you know, some articulable facts of how you felt threatened in some way, you know, that's a duty that you would have to do, you know, to articulate those facts, to explain your actions. But
I mean, what if
but I don't want to speculate on something that I really don't know, other than what you just told me. That's all I know about it.
What if I would have defended myself?
I don't know. Again, I'm speculating who that could have gone a million different directions.
I mean, what if I would have pulled out the pepper spray, and what if I would have defended myself and sprayed him down? Because, I mean, honestly, I had, you know, really, he probably needed bear spray to stop, because, I mean, he was about the size of a bear. I don't know if y'all do like a drug testing up here, but like I mean, there have been many people that have thought that he was on a roid rage. And if you look at the video and the way that he's acting, it sure seems like it's a roid rage that he comes out in.
I don't know who we're talking about. Plus, I mean, I do know a lot of troopers around the state. That's 3 hours away from where I live and work.
Right.
I don't know every trooper by any means. There's too many of us.
So, all right. Well, I'm trying to, and I understand this is a whole different troop up here, but I need to get to the bottom of who this guy was, and he needs to be dealt with properly, because, I mean, if he did that to me and I wasn't doing anything to provoke, I'm sure he goes home and he beats his wife. I'm sure somebody probably needs to check on her. I'm sure that, you know, like, I mean, what if somebody does the smallest thing on a traffic stop, or what if somebody, I mean, God forbid, I mean, what if somebody said something racist in his presence? Because if he would do that to me for standing on a public sidewalk, I can't imagine, and we're in Mississippi, okay? I can't imagine if somebody had said something slightly inflammatory that he took as racist. You know, so I think that it's something that certainly they should have never witnessed it and allowed it to happen and be part of the cover-up. But hey, this is Highway State Troopers. This is the highest law enforcement, you know, basically position for the state. And the Highway Patrol, the Mississippi State Troopers, need to, you know, actually, I mean, they need to look into who this guy is. They know who the guy is. They don't need to just look into it. They know.
What I was getting at with the QR, though, so once the complaint comes into IA, they'll look at the facts that you do have. You know a date and a time and a location. And so they will send that complaint if it's something they feel like can be handled in the district, they'll send it to that troop commander. Or if they think it's something serious enough that it warrants a full internal affairs investigation, internal affairs will just handle it from start to finish themselves.
Right, but see, we all know the problem with internal affairs. It happens all the time. We investigate ourselves and found no evidence of wrongdoing. How can I expect internal affairs to do a proper job if the governor won't even denounce it? So I know how that's going to go. If the governor won't even say anything.
I would disagree with you, because we've had some QRs around the state that have been investigated and they've been addressed properly. So it's not always the case that we, as you said, we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong. I can promise you that's not what happened.
But the difference,
you might feel that
yeah.
way.
Well, I haven't really had any experience that's made me think otherwise. And the problem here in this particular situation is when you have the top guy at the top of the totem pole that's refusing to denounce it and ultimately playing into it himself, because he didn't want me there because I was exposing something that he did wrong. That was bad. So he wanted to be gone. So there's no recourse at the state level if, nobody's going to hold internal affairs accountable if they make the wrong decision because the governor is condoning it.
Well, obviously I can't speak for Governor Reeves. Obviously I can't. But I can just tell you, based on my experience and how we handle QRs, that's our process.
Right.
We expect our troopers to hold themselves to a high standard. Again, I'm one troop commander and one troop, but it starts at the top. And we investigate every QR complaint that comes through, no matter how minor or how major. And we send it up through our legal channels. You got internal affairs involved. If it's serious enough, we've got a whole legal division that looks at it. And then eventually our lieutenant colonel and colonel. And that's our in-house chain of command. If it's something that they feel like they couldn't handle, that's what the commissioner is there for, and then ultimately the governor. So I can only control the things that I can control, right?
How many trainings do y'all do on y'all's troops over here?
I mean, what?
How often do y'all do trainings with your formal trainings?
We do some minor trainings. Usually we'll have something at a district meeting, which we have every month. It can be something minor, talking about policies or any updates that we might need to go over. But then we also have in-service training that we do as an agency, that's like driving, firearms, defensive tactics, those things that have to be qualified on every year. And so it's pretty regularly. And then of course there's outside training that troopers can seek, at different places that offer law enforcement training.
Like street cop?
Say again?
Like street cop?
I'm on that.
The guy that was teaching I think it's called street cop. Street cop trainings.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay.
But anyway, they can go to outside training as well. So we do a good job of training, I feel like. And even, like I said, sending guys to outside training, to not our own in-house people. So we when the funds are available, a lot of it costs money. So we try to send them to as much as they want to go to classes that they're interested in doing.
Right.
So we try to keep everybody trained. Of course, training is a good thing, and you'd always like to have more of it.
Right.
Resources are limited. You do the best you can.
Right.
That's what we try to do.
Well, okay. So, how often do y'all do constitutional training?
We specifically, I couldn't give you a specific answer, but I do know that we'll have refreshers. Our legal team will come in periodically, especially if we've had some new legislation take effect, or if it's changed, some old legislation that's changed. They'll update us to try to keep us abreast of any changes that we need to know about that's pertinent to us. That regularly, I don't know how often I can say, but at our in-service every year, legal team will touch on some portion of a legal update, because there's always a change to a law or a new law taking effect, or an old law going off the books even. For instance, back when we got rid of the inspection stickers, that was an old law that went off the books. So every year they touch on what they feel is important for us to be refreshed on. So that's at least one official with our legal team training. But then our training staff will also conduct trainings, send information down to the districts or the
Right.
groups for us to disseminate. So it's a wide variety of training opportunities that we have.
Got you. Now, one other thing, and this was actually brought to my attention earlier on the phone, and it was something that I was absolutely just shocked. I was floored to hear this. I was advised, and I was actually advised by an attorney on the phone, that Mississippi Highway Patrol is a little bit different, a lot different from any other law enforcement agency of the state, in that Mississippi Highway Patrol are not liability insured. So if something happens, it doesn't come back on the state of Mississippi. It actually is on the trooper themselves, and the legislation did it that way just basically to kind of keep them, from having to address that in a current session. So is that true that there's no liability insurance policy on a state trooper?
I haven't been told that, but I'd hate to say yes or no and not be correct.
Okay.
I haven't heard what you just said.
Yeah, an attorney actually told me that today, and I was shocked because once again, it gets back into the rules for thee, but not for me. Who in the hell does the state of Mississippi think they are to say, okay, well, we're not going to insure our law enforcement officers if they or a certain branch, the highest ones, if they violate the rights of a citizen or if they cause bodily harm. The state of Mississippi is not going to be responsible for their actions, but we, the state, are going to make you, the citizen, go and get liability insurance on your car. And if you don't have liability insurance on your car, we're going to extort from you and then suspend your license and possibly give you jail time. But the state doesn't have to do liability insurance on their state troopers. I mean, if I find out that's the case, like the attorney actually said, it's going to be a whole nother level of loudness about that, because that's in no way is that okay. Because here I'm a injured party. My gear has been destroyed, and I was physically assaulted, and this state trooper gets the free pass, and then I'm finding out that he probably wasn't insured by the state of Mississippi.
I don't know what to tell you, sir. I don't have the facts. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to come in and I mean, I appreciate you answering the questions that you did for me. The biggest problem that I have with law enforcement is, and it's across the board, is the fact that it doesn't matter what branch, feds do it too, okay? They do not have the ability, it seems, to be able to differentiate right from wrong when it comes to one of their fellow officers. Prime point, if they do something that's blatantly out in the open wrong, instead of just saying that was wrong, which would be, I mean, it's so hard for them to come out and say that because they feel like they're turning on somebody. But at the end of the day, to basically, and even like right here, whenever I talked to you at the beginning about what situation would it be allowable for somebody to assault another person, for peaceful protest on public property, and you said, well, you came around to, well, there is none. There is no situation, and that's correct. There is none. It's if the officer wants to make a arrest for something like that, that's a false arrest, but that's totally different than just walking up to somebody and putting hands on them and assaulting them. There is absolutely no excuse for it. But once I got around to telling you that it was a state trooper, your answer kind of changed on, well, there might be a situation, but I don't know what that situation is. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like once it becomes known that it's a law enforcement officer.
My response to that was he's going to have to articulate his actions. So that's where there could be a reason that he did it. What I'm getting at.
But silence right now, where they're not giving me his name and badge number, and they're staying silent, and I'm demanding answers now.
Who have you talked to?
Oh, the governor's office, they've gotten plenty of calls. The Mississippi Department of Public Safety, MBI, Mississippi Highway Patrol. I mean, there's the Attorney General's office, the Department of Justice. It's like, I mean, I've covered all bases.
You haven't done a QR though?
No, I mean, nobody said, they didn't tell me when it happened. They didn't say, oh, well, Mr. Reardon, we're just we're not going to give you his name and badge number, but if you come up to one of our offices, we've got a QR code hanging on the window. You can go up there and scan that, and that way you can start your complaint against John Doe that we're not going to tell you his name and badge number.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't know that, but that's the process that we use. And that's supposed to run it from the front window.
Yeah, and that's good for anything that might happen outside of the presence of other law enforcement officers. But in this case, when an assault happened in the presence of 3 other state troopers, a supervisor included, that QR code is not needed. The department should immediately investigate itself.
You're saying that you're wanting to get a resolution to it. I can't speak for what happened there. I wasn't there.
I know.
So, but I'm trying to help you. You're wanting to get an answer and you're wanting to be heard. That's the best way I know to tell you to be heard, is to use the QR system that will send it to IA, that will initiate an investigation.
And what if they don't get back in touch with me? What if they don't, what if I do that and I don't get a response?
The first thing I have to do, when I receive a QR complaint from one of my troopers that works in this district, the very first thing I have to do before I even look into it at all is send an acknowledgement letter to the person that complained. So if it were you, for instance, the first correspondence you would get from us is an official letter on letterhead saying, basically telling you, we have received your complaint and a thorough investigation will be conducted. So you will be responded to. That's the first thing that we have to do.
Okay.
Then the investigation carries on, and then at the end we send a resolution letter telling what our findings were. So it's a very transparent process. It's been in place for about a year now, and I can tell you that we answer a lot of complaints. I mean, that's what it's there for, is for people to be able to let us know if somebody has done something that they don't like, anything that they want to do.
I mean, I'm sure y'all do get a lot of complaints, because I've personally witnessed 3 just shocking acts by people that are with the Mississippi Highway Patrol or MBI. And I know that if I've had 3 things happen like that, I mean, there's a lot of issues that are going on that need to be addressed. And I just wanted to come in here and get the answers to these questions, and I wanted to basically be the liaison to the public to say that we, the people, yeah, I just wanted to,
you're in the right direction to get what you want.
Yes, sir. I wanted to convey the message that we, the people, will not tolerate any of that nonsense going on with any law enforcement officer, any state trooper, and I would suggest that the Mississippi Department of Public Safety get on this issue. While I'm here, is there any way that I can get a print-off of each of the officers at your command without having to go the public record route?
I think we're going to have to go the public record route before we disseminate all that information.
But it's public information.
That's right, but we still have to run it through our legal team before we send it out. Yesterday I got an email from an attorney's office about a case. Still had to send it through our legal team for them to approve it before we can push it out. So if they're good with it, I don't have a problem at all giving it to you.
Oh, I mean, they can't say no to it. I mean, if somebody asked for a list of the officers, they cannot block that for any reason. But I mean, the only thing that they can do is basically try to drag the process out, like things like this instead of getting it on site, you know, sending
The
the.
thing I'd like for you to consider is, you know, I work here, and I've got rules that I've got to follow. And so that's what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to be helpful to you, but at the same time, I've got to do my job the way I have to do my job. I hope you can appreciate it.
I was just saying for citizen safety, you know, because I just want to know who is.
For civil rights than me.
Yeah.
You know, that's what my job is all about. You know, being in law enforcement, and so I try to do my job the best that I can. That's all I ask for the troopers under my command, is do your very best. Are mistakes made at times? Of course, we're human too. Mistakes can be made by anybody. But as long as we're acting in good faith and trying to do our best, I think it's all going to work out, and that's the only really directive I've ever given my troopers under my command.
So how well are your troopers trained? If I go out there on that sidewalk right now and hold up a sign that says "fuck the police," are they going to approach me and have a problem with it?
You're wanting me to speculate on what somebody might do, but nobody would say anything that I can imagine, because we understand what a First Amendment right is. And again, obviously I swore an oath to support the Constitution and uphold it, of the United States and the state of Mississippi. So if that's what you choose to do, you know, even if I disagree with it, that's your right.
All right. Can I get do you have a scan of that, a copy of that QR code that I can take with me? I mean, I know I've got it on video right there, but does Joe have anything, maybe having them printed on a card, something that you
We
can?
don't, that's all we got, but it's even on the DPS, but you don't even have to have a QR. On the DPS website, the main website, over on the side, it's got a section if you want to file a complaint. And that's on any DPS employee. You can go straight to the website. And matter of fact, I think all that is just link you to the website, as a matter of fact. So that's how you can get to it.
Okay. All right. Good to go. All right. You got a card?
I do.
Yeah. If you want to see, just to show what not to do, We the People News is it's got everything that, you know, website. I got the website wtpnews.org. And We the People News, and it's got plenty of, you know, it's got everything with what happened on the 3rd on there. Okay. So that needs to, I'm tired of the silence and people not wanting to address things and thinking that they're going to go away. They're going to just blow up into a lot bigger of an issue if they're not addressed properly, and this needs to be addressed, you know, the correct way right now and condemned. So, all right. I appreciate it, Captain.
Have a good afternoon.
All right. So I had to get the answers to some questions that I already knew the answers to going in. But once again, I had to just get a few more acknowledgments and admissions. And you get those until they find out that it was a state trooper that did it, and then they want to all of a sudden kind of backstep it and say, well, there might have been a situation where it could have been. No, there's never a situation where violence is ever condoned, from law enforcement to a journalist to a citizen to anybody that's peacefully exercising their constitutional rights. Never.
Mississippi troopers, NBI agents, you were supposed to be the elite. Instead, you became enforcers for the corrupt. No justice, no integrity, no name, no shame. Let's talk about it. Yo, money, you a coward with a badge and a pen. Fabricated lies, then you did it all again. 2022, yeah, I remember that day. You framed me blindfolded, just walked in and said, okay, no probable cause, no facts, no proof. Just a lazy ass lie in a courtroom booth. You ain't no lieutenant, more like a pawn. Controlled by a system that's broken and gone. Where you both are just dumb, take your pick, it's a toss. Either way, you dirty and I'm done with the gloss. MBI, more like men ball instantly. I see straight through your fraudulence vividly. You swore an oath, but you spit on that creed. Now the truth's on the mic and I'm watching y'all bleed. Like a badge of dishonor, name em, shame em. Lying in court while the state keep praising. Protect and serve, not protect and lie. Time to expose them. Trooper by MBI. Trooper by MBI. Trooper by MBI. Little badge of dishonor, name em, shame em. Lying in court while the state keep praising. Protect and serve, not protect and lie. Time to expose them. Trooper by MBI. Dixon, you a liar, you know it's a fact. Lafayette bred thug in a state trooper's hat. Caught me on camera, assaulted me bold, then lied under oath while the courtroom cold. The judge looked on like it's all routine, like beating up a journalist ain't obscene. But I had that audio proof in my hand. You thought you skate free like the Ku Klux Klan. You moved on up to the NBI ranks. Same coward in uniform, just change your tanks. A badge don't redeem you, just sharpens the sin. You still a thug in the shell of a man within. You ain't fit to serve, you ain't earned that gear. So I'm dropping this verse like a brick of fear. Your name etched in shame and the truth I trust, and your oath ain't worth the grime in my dust. Al a badge of dishonor, name them, shame them. Lying in court while the state keep praising. Protect and serve, not protect and lie. Time to expose them. Trooper by MBI. Trooper by MBI. Trooper by MBI. Al a badge of dishonor, name them, shame them. Lying in court while the state keep praising. Protect and serve, not protect and lie. Time to expose them. Trooper by MBI. Now let's talk about the thug in disguise. Beat me down on the sidewalk right before my eyes. Outside Reed's mansion with the cameras rolling. You crack me in silence like your soul's been stolen. Unidentified, that's the game y'all play. No name, no badge, no price to pay. But I'm the press and I don't go quiet. You started a war, now I'm leading the riot. Governor complicit, Tyndale gon' ghost. Covering for cowards like you coast to coast. Y'all got one law for them and one for us. But your empire's built on betrayal and dust. This ain't just rap, it's a call to action. Expose every lie, every crooked faction. That badge is burning with every bar. I'm the voice of the people and I'm raising the scar. And the badge of dishonor, name them, shame them. Lying in court while the state keep praising. Protect and serve, not protect and lie. Truth gon' march, it corrupt gon' die. And the badge of dishonor, name them, shame them. Lying in court while the state keep praising. Protect and serve, not protect and lie. Truth gon' march, it corrupt gon' die. Sean Tyndale, you let the trash take the wheel. Joey Marney, Courtney Dixon, and a faceless trooper. Not forgotten, not forgiven. We the people see you, and we're not backing down. And we're not backing down. And we're not backing down. Trooper by MBI. Trooper by MBI. Not forgotten, not forgiven. We the people see you.
What's up? Let's talk about that for a second, okay? Let me turn this down. I want to talk about that. What is your feedback on what happened today with the captain over there at the Mississippi Highway Patrol? I can tell you this. He did not want to be there. That was definitely it put him in a tough spot. But I needed to get answers from somebody within the ranks of the Mississippi Highway Patrol. Sorry that I had to pick your random troop station. I understand that troop, whatever, had nothing to do with Jackson. It was not the same people. However, I felt that he owed me those answers because he represents the Mississippi Highway Patrol, the state troopers. And if he's going to stand with them, okay, and if they're going to be faced with different scenarios and situations that could be very likely similar. I needed to hear from him. Somebody there within the organization. It didn't matter if he was outside of Jackson. What mattered is he was under the Mississippi Department of Public Safety. And I needed to hear what I already knew. That if anybody had done that to me in the presence of law enforcement, well, I'm not even going to say do it to me, because they would probably watch and laugh. But if anybody went up to anybody that was peacefully protesting and hit them because they didn't like them being there, didn't want them to do what they were doing, it would be an arrest. And particularly, the only way that it would not be arrest is if it did not happen in the presence of law enforcement. And this is now where we get into very, very sticky waters for the Mississippi State Troopers, is the fact that it was in the presence of law enforcement, which they do have a sworn constitutional duty to, when they witness a crime being committed in their presence, to act on it. And you have not one, not two, but three complicit state troopers that heard me saying over and over and over, I want him charged. There can be no dispute about that. They didn't do their job. They need to turn in their badge, go find another line of work. This one's not going to work out for them anymore. Because, I mean, this gets into obstruction of justice. It gets into, I mean, it was already assault. You get into other areas. Now we're in obstruction of justice because they are keeping the name of the trooper hidden, masked. I don't know. And you know, what's crazy about that is the fact that not only was it in the presence of 3 law enforcement officers, but one of them was a supervisor. And see, that's where it's going to really, really sting the state of Mississippi in this ordeal. Because they can't walk away from this, you know, without any type of recourse. That's, like I said, I mean, I told this attorney on the phone today, that is a horrible, I can't even imagine that if this becomes a norm and they're allowed to do that, just walk up to a citizen or journalist and just, it's not even, this gets beyond tyrannical where, you know, you have unhinged cops that are making false arrests. What about when they go past that, like this right here, and it wasn't even an officer or an officer making a false arrest. He wasn't trying to make any arrest at all. He was just trying to go for violence. It's, tell you what, it's stuff like this that people need to start taking to the streets on. And, you know, this stuff like this is where people need to show complete civil disobedience. When they show that, you know, rules for thee but not for me, and can actually legitimately get away with committing crimes like that, and can be shielded and all the top levels. People, y'all better be taking to the streets. I'm telling you. You know, you can't stand by and say that's okay. Same thing with Trevon, or the Tyree Nichols case. I don't know how in the world they didn't convict those officers. I've seen the video.
I streamed the video. In fact, speaking of video, and I don't have, let's see if I can do this real quickly. So there's a new story out right now. You know what? I'm not even going to cover it on this. I'm going to build the story out like I should, like I properly should. There's a new story that's sickening. These thugs are, you know, they're turning straight militant, thinking that the people aren't going to turn that way. And only so much that people can take. You know, it's only so much abuse that that a tamed animal, pet, there's only so much abuse that they can take before it brings the animalistic nature out. And people are playing a dirty game, that's for sure. I don't know if there's anything else that I have. No. So I'm trying to get this completely done, rendered out. I'm putting a stabilizer on the video right now, and then let me show you this as well. Let's see, turn it around. All right. So in building out this video, I've got the static cam that was recording 16:9. That was what we just watched. That was zoomed out all the way. Well, what I'm doing is I'm going in and I've got motion tracking on him in that box, so it's going to keep everything, you know, centered on him, and then zoomed all the way in for the video, and then the other camera is going to basically get, you know, the other half, or actually what it is it's about 2/3. That occupies about 1/3 right there, and then the rest of it will be about 2/3. That is going to be that other camera that shows. It's going to show to the right of him, and it's also going to show him cut to right there. And then on the left screen, you're going to have this right here where you're going to have the up close. So it's going to turn out pretty good as soon as it's done. Like I said, it's just a lot of rendering work to actually make sure all this stuff can get on there. So let's see. Wish this thing would zoom out a little bit. Oh. Zoom in. Wow, that's weird. All right. Oh yeah. So in light of how my day went today, it really brought this song to mind, and I think it's actually deserving right now. Let's take another listen to it. This is Scandalous.
Madeline, you walking Liz Crowder's path now, turning love into a weapon. I dropped everything, 6 hours on the road, just to hold my babies, lighten up the load. A father's heart ready, resources on the line, missing my kids, wishing we could rewind. But every new day, she's singing that delay. It ain't good today, just another day away. 2 weeks waiting and still no embrace, but Madeline's out there giving love away. County got her strings like a puppet on stage, knowing just how to hit me, keep me trapped in a cage. Through my kids she controls, manipulates, deceives. Every promise just fades, trust dies while I grieve. She's scandalous, cold with a cause, not just lies, she's the bait in their jaws. Keeping my kids from the father they choose. Took all that I love, now there's nothing to lose. She's scandalous, why she keeps me in bed. Every promise she breaks fuels the fuse. Now they facing a man with nothing to lose. She don't need paperwork to twist up the truth, keeping kids silent, ripping out roots. And every night, another man's hands, while my kids left wondering where daddy stands. Madeline got ties in Lafayette's web, following Crowder's footprints ahead, thinking my love's weakness, but that's her mistake. I got fire in my veins and truth wide awake. No fear when you empty, when you strip to the bone. No chains hold tighter than being alone, but they're creating the storm with each lie that they tell. And a man with no fear is their personal hell. I drove miles for truth, miles for love, but you played games, was never enough. You used the last thing I cherished as bait, but a man without fear is dangerous fate. She's scandalous, cold with a